God sent the angel Gabriel to Nazareth, a village in Galilee, to a virgin named Mary. She was engaged to be married to a man named Joseph, a descendant of King David. Gabriel appeared to her and said,
"Greetings, favored woman, the Lord is with you."
Confused and disturbed, Mary tried to think what the angel could mean.
Don't be afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God. You will conceive and give birth to a son, and you will name him Jesus. He will be very great and will be called the Son of God, the Most High. The Lord will give him the throne of his ancestor David, and he will reign over Israel forever. His kingdom will never end.
How can this happen? I'm not married.
The Holy Spirit will come upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. So the baby to be born will be holy, and he will be called the Son of God. What's more, your relative Elizabeth has become pregnant in her old age. People used to say she was barren, but she has conceived a son, and he is now in her 6th month. For the word of God will never fail.
I'm the Lord's servant. May everything you have said about me come true. And the angel left her. So you see, this is precisely how Jesus the Messiah was to be born. A few days later, Mary hurried to the hill country of Judea, to the town where Zachariah lived. She entered the house and greeted Elizabeth. At the sound of Mary's greeting, Elizabeth's child leapt within her, and Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit. Elizabeth gave a glad cry and exclaimed to Mary,
God has blessed you above all women, and your child is blessed. Why am I so honored that the mother of my Lord should visit me? When I heard your greeting, the baby in my womb jumped for joy. You are blessed because you believed that the Lord would do what he said.
Oh, how my soul praises the Lord, how my spirit rejoices in God my Savior. For he took notice from his lonely servant girl, and from now on all generations will call me blessed. For the Mighty One is holy, and he has done great things for me. Mary stayed with Elizabeth about 3 months, and then went back to her own home. When it was time for Elizabeth's baby to be born, she gave birth to a son, and they called him John. Now, when Mary returned home to Joseph, she was well over 3 months pregnant, and Mary told Joseph all that had happened. Joseph needed time alone to think. Joseph, her fiancé, was a good man and did not want to discourage her publicly, so he decided to break the engagement quietly. As he considered this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream.
Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, for the child within her has conceived by the Holy Spirit, and she will have a son, and you are to name him Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins.
All of this occurred to fulfill the Lord's message through his prophet Isaiah. Mary will conceive a child, she will give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God is with us. When Joseph woke up, he did as the angel of the Lord commanded and took Mary as his wife. At that time, the Roman Emperor Augustus decreed that a census should be taken throughout the Roman Empire. All returned to their own towns to register for this census. And because Joseph was a descendant of King David, he had to go to Bethlehem in Judea, David's ancient home. He traveled there from the village of Nazareth in Galilee, and he took with him Mary, his fiancée, who obviously is pregnant. And while they were there, the time came for her baby to be born. Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the reign of King Herod. She gave birth to her first child, a son. She wrapped him and laid him in a manger because there was no lodging available for them. That night, there were shepherds staying in the fields nearby, guarding their flocks of sheep. Suddenly, an angel of the Lord appeared among them, and the radiance of the Lord's glory surrounded them. They were terrified, but the angel assured them.
Don't be afraid. I bring you good news that will bring great joy to all people. The Savior, yes, the Messiah, the Lord has been born today in Bethlehem, the city of David. And you will recognize him by this sign. You will find a baby wrapped snugly in strips of cloth, lying in a manger.
Suddenly, the angel was joined by a vast host of others, the armies of heaven, praising God and saying,
Glory to God in highest heaven and peace on earth. Do not be afraid, Jesus is born today. You find him wrapped in cloth and lying in a manger.
When the angels had returned to heaven, the shepherds agreed to go to Bethlehem. About that time, some wise men from eastern lands arrived in Jerusalem, asking,
Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We saw his star as it rose, and we have come to worship him.
King Herod was deeply disturbed when he heard this, as was everyone in Jerusalem. He called a meeting of the leading priests and teachers of religious law and asked,
Priests and advisors, I have an important question that you must answer. Where is the Messiah to be born?
Herod's advisors told him, in Bethlehem in Judea, or this is what the prophet wrote. Then Herod called for a private meeting with the wise men, and he learned from them that the time when the star first appeared, then he told them.
Wise men, I have heard what you have told me about the star. I now have an instruction for you. Go to Bethlehem and search carefully for the child. When you find him, come back and tell me so I can go and worship him too. After these, the wise men went their way, and the star they had seen in the east guided them towards Bethlehem and stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were also filled with joy. They entered the house and saw the child with his mother, Mary. and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasure chest and gave him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
The shepherds told everyone what had happened and what the angel had said to them about this child. All who heard the shepherd's story was astonished, but Mary kept all these things in her heart and thought about them often. The shepherds went back to their flocks, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen. It was just as the angel had told them, and when it was time to leave, the 3 wise men returned to their own country by another route. For God had warned them in a dream not to return to Herod.
The baby's name was Jesus, the name given him by the angel even before he was conceived. When Jesus' parents had fulfilled all the requirements of the law of the Lord, they returned home to Nazareth in Galilee. There the child grew up healthy and strong. He was filled with wisdom, and God's favor was on him.
And that is how it all began. Let us give thanks and praise to our Father in heaven for this precious gift. For God loved the world so much that he gave his one and only Son, so that everyone who believes in him will not perish but have eternal life.
Thank you for
watching
watching to our video. Merry Christmas! Happy Christmas! Happy New Year! Kaya Kristuyena! Sinyen Kyler! Sinten Kyler!
Have a nice Christmas.
Happy New Year!
Merry Christmas to all of you!
Happy Christmas! Yay!
Merry Christmas.